From the feet of Gamaliel to the carcass of Stephen, I was excelling the zeal of my brethren. I was not without it, changing the regimen. I put through hell who I thought
Shalom, family. Most High Christ bless. Good morning, good morning, good morning.
It wasn't fair, I wasn't sparing them, huh? If they was spreading their resurrect rhetoric, I'm gonna be there when they bury them, huh? I'm on my way to Damascus, finna get licensed to get on their asses, yeah. Forsaking the elders' traditions for madness, no, I ain't giving no passes. I'm on my neck and suddenly light shine. Felt like the sun running up on me. Damn, it wasn't the sun, but I...
Shalom, family. Most High Christ bless. If you can hear me, go ahead and throw the wise up in the chat, please. Please.
Then I hear a voice sounding. Why persecutest thou me? I'm so confused, like what did I do? I know you an angel or something, but who? He said all that violence that you been inciting, I am the one you was doing it to. At this point, I'm really terrified. Lord, what can I do for you to spare my life? He told me.
Shalom, family. If you can hear me, throw the wise in the chat, please. Please.
When he departed, he left with my sight. Couldn't see at all.
Hey, all praises, all praises.
I used to blaspheme, and I did it ignorantly, and I did it all in unbelief, until the Lord enabled me. Now I'm praying that I never leave, and you don't take the spirit from me. I was walking in the flesh so carnally, didn't understand the truth, but now I say, put his hands on me.
See one person that can't hear me? Maybe you can hear me now. So Abigail Israel. Okay. All praises, all praises. Gonna get started here.
I gotta keep pushing, I gotta keep going. I got so much work to do. Like set up some churches and put out some doctors. I can't get comfortable. I gotta wake up the Northern Kingdom. Many offended at what I'm teaching. Showing the torch on some true repentance. Now I'm delivered to King Agrippa. Think myself happy, I speak for myself. I'm not causing riots or causing rebel. Showing some area of the Commonwealth. They so selfish.
All praises to the Most High.
I thought they would get it because I'm a Jew. Keeping
all
the
praises.
customs since I was a youth. No shock, my brethren, rejecting the truth. Which of the fathers they ain't persecute?
Hey, all praise to the Most High. Good morning to all you out there. Officer Baruch, IUIC, Arkansas. I'm going to hold down daily bread this morning. I do pray that everybody's doing well. You know, hopefully you taking the natural herbs, those medicines of the earth that the Most High gave us to help heal us, you know, and any medicines that can help heal your body through the faith of the Most High, of course. I want to jump right into it. Lord's will, I'm not too long this morning. I think you've seen the title. The title is Live by the Bible. Live by the Bible. All right. If I can get one of the brothers to scribe for me this morning, that'd be great. Go ahead and scribe for me this morning, please. Please. That'd be great. I'm going to read the disclaimer real quick. Let's see here. We are not a hate group. We are not affiliated with any other group. Any other Israelite group. Israel United in Christ is a non-violent Bible-based movement. We do not advocate or condone any acts of violence against any race, ethnicity, or gender. We advise that if anyone hears or knows of any plots to cause harm to anyone or to break the laws of the land, you must contact the proper authorities to bring awareness to any possible threat, as stated in Leviticus 5:1. Hey, so all praises to the Most High. Look like I got a scribe on deck. All praises. All praise to the Most High. Zechariah. Okay, all praises. Hey, we're going to jump right into it. Hopefully this is edifying to us all, that we may grow and gain some understanding here. All right. So again, this is The class title is Live by the Bible. Live by the Bible. Right? I'm not going too deeper in. I'm not going deeper anything like that. It's basic understanding, that allows us to continue to move forward, All right. I want to start with 1 Peter chapter 2 and verse 21. Let me get there real quick. The book of 1 Peter chapter 2 and verse 21. For even hereunto you were for even hereunto were ye called, because Christ also suffered for us, leaving us an example that ye should follow his steps. Right? I'm going to keep reading, and it says, who did no sin, neither was guile found in his mouth. Right? So the Bible is teaching us something here, right? So we're reading in Peter's, it says we should follow the examples that Christ left us, right? Christ left us examples to follow his steps. So in particular, I want to give one example of what Christ did. And I want to show us something that we have to do, the similar things that we have to do in order for us to continue to live by the Bible, right? To walk the ways of the Lord, in a sense of keeping the commandments, right? So we're going to jump into it. Let's go to Luke chapter 4. Let's go to Luke chapter 4. Luke chapter 4, right? So we're going to read an occasion of what went down with Christ. All right, let me get there. We're going to start at verse 1. The book of Luke chapter 4 and verse 1. And Jesus being full of the Holy Ghost, returned from Jordan, and was led by the Spirit unto the wilderness, being 40 days tempted of the devil. In those days did he eat. And in those days did eat nothing. Right? So Christ was tempted 40 days. And in those days he did eat nothing. He didn't eat at all. Right? So he was fasting. And then it says, and when they were ended, he afterward hungered. So after those days were up, Christ was hungry, right? And the devil said unto him, if thou be the Son of God, command this stone that it be made bread. And Jesus answered him, saying, it is written, that man should not live by bread alone, but by every word of God. So some points in there that we can look at to see how we must live according to the Bible. So what happened here is that Christ was tempted by the devil, right? After he come from fasting, he come from the wilderness, as it states, by the Spirit unto the wilderness. He come from 40 days of fasting. The devil was like, hey, since you Christ, why don't you turn this stone I got, this stone right here, into bread? You hungry, right? Go ahead and turn it into that, right? So we see now, we're going to see something here. What Satan is doing is trying to tempt Christ to go contrary to what the Bible says. But Christ himself uses the Bible to combat against Satan, to combat against quote unquote the principalities, the things that's contrary to God, right? So watch this. I want you to see something here though. The thing that we have to do when we going through these temptations is make sure we're using the Bible, right? This is how we know Christ used the Bible, because this was written somewhere. This passage right here, when he said, it is written that man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word of God. Meaning that was somewhere. You know what Christ did? He read the Bible. He read the Bible. Watch this. Let's go to Isaiah real quick. We're gonna jump around just a little bit. Isaiah, let's see. Isaiah chapter 34, and we're going to read verse 16. Christ understood this right here. He understood this. The book of Isaiah, chapter 34 and verse 16. Seek ye out of the book of the Lord and read. No one of these shall fail. None shall want her mate. For my mouth it hath commanded, and his spirit it have gathered them. Right? So now we read that we know that Christ was seeking out of the book to read, because he knew that, hey, none of the prophecies in the Bible are not going to fail. I know when I'm going through things, guess who got me? God. It's not going to be me manifesting anything for myself. It's not going to be you manifesting anything for me. It's going to be God. And he knew that. He knew that. That's why he quoted the scriptures. That's why he went and understood the scriptures, because he was seeking out of the book. He read it. And that's something we have to do. We have to read these things. We got to know where to go when we're being tempted. When we're going through trials, we have to know where to go. All right? All right, Israel? Let's get that. So let's see what Christ was reading. All right? Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy chapter 8. So we're gonna see what Christ was reading. What did he quote? And we're gonna start up a little bit, because this is something that, you know, that we have to examine. The Most High God is doing something. When we go through trials, when we go through the struggles of life, being in this captivity, guess what? We gotta follow the ways of the Most High. We gotta trust on him. We have to lean on him. All right, watch this. Deuteronomy chapter 8 and verse 1. It says, all the commandments which I command thee this day shall ye observe to do, that ye may live and multiply and go in and possess the land which the Lord sware unto your fathers. And thou shalt remember all the way which the Lord thy God led thee these 40 years in the wilderness, to humble thee and to prove thee, to know what is in thine heart, whether thou wouldest keep his commandments or no. Right? So reading this off the back right here is saying that we have to observe to do the commandments and for us to live. Right? We got to do the commandments. So this is during Moses' time. Moses was telling them, hey, you come out of Egypt. You all out of Egypt. What you have to do is follow the commandments. Follow the commandments so that you could possess that land. What is that land? That land is the land of Canaan. That land of milk and honey. The land that we all want. That we all have the right to. But we have to apply the laws, the commandments. Christ knew that. Christ knew that. Christ said, hey, hold on. This happened. This is something that God said that was going to happen. I read it in the Bible. He said it was going to happen. So just hold up. Don't do your own thing. Don't do your own will. Right? And Christ quoted that through the scripture. You know, when Christ was walking, he was saying, hey, it's not my will. You know, it's his Father. He knew it was his Father's will. He knew it was of his Father to follow his law, his ways, right? So Christ never strayed from that. Now, if we followers of Christ who did no sin, what we gonna do? What you gonna do? How you gonna live? Are you gonna live by the Bible? You gonna live exactly the way Christ lived? That also entails, we can get it later, but that entails us dying for this faith. Dying for this. Some of us gonna die for this. You ready? Are you going to live by the Bible? Right? I want to read that again. Deuteronomy chapter 8 and verse 1. And all the commandments which I command thee this day shall ye observe to do, that ye may live and multiply and go in and possess the land which the Lord sware unto your fathers. So this was sworn unto our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And yes, it's going down to us once we apply the commandments, right? Verse 2, and thou shalt remember all the way which the Lord thy God led thee these 40 years in the wilderness to humble thee. These are key points that you have to recognize. Christ knew that he fasted these days. He was going to be humble. It was going to humble him. It was going to, his spirit was, he was hungered afterwards. And this is something you got to examine too. Through Christ going through that, right? He was already done with the 40 days. It said afterwards he hungered. The point in that was Satan was like, you handle it now. Satan tried to say, hey, you turn this rock into food now. Christ was like, no. I'm going to follow my father. My father told me to do it this way. I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to lean on him. Not on my own thoughts, not on my own ways. That ain't it. I'm going to lean on him, and he's going to provide. A lot of times we be right there at the break of the trial that we going through, the temptation that's hindering us, that's holding us a little bit, that's only for a season at times. Guess what? We right there at the end, and we go and do our own thing and mess it all up. Come on now. You mess it all up. You right there at the end. And you mess it up for yourself. You got to see that thing. You have to live by the Bible. The Bible, if you just read in the Bible, if you follow these procedures, these steps, guess what? Now you're like, oh, okay, I see what's going on. I feel it now. I see it. I see the sign. Don't you know yourself? Don't you know you've been through these trials? You just came through that trial earlier that year. You back around through the same temptation. You back around through that same trial. And guess what? You caving in now? No, you can't cave in. You shouldn't, right? I want to continue. It says to humble thee. So the things that we go through is to humble us. And what else? And to prove thee, to know what is in thine heart, whether thou wouldest keep his commandments or no. Just like with Christ was being proven, whether he was going to keep the commandments or do his own thing, live by bread, or he was going to live by the word. We're going to have to go through that same thing. We're going to choose whether we're going to live by the word or we're just going to live by bread. Bread alone. Right? We're going to show you what specific bread is, but that bread, just living on your own, doing your own thing, that's of self-will. You doing your thing. You saying, well, I can just live by, yeah, you're right. Yeah, I can do this on my own. I can handle this myself. That's not going to benefit you at all, right? So the thing is, it was to prove us, Sometimes we need that reality check, right? Just like what David said. Let's get this real quick. Let's go to Psalms chapter 26. David said that David was, David did a lot of things throughout his life. And he was very humble. He became humble and he prayed to the Most High, right? And one of the things he asked was this. The book of Psalms chapter 26 and verse 2. It says, examine me, O Lord, and prove me. Try my reins and my heart. Right? So guess what he did? David asked to be tried, to be proved. He asked for these things. Whether he wanted to know if he can overcome. Examine me. Sometimes we want that. We need that. We need to be examined. Some of us be too high and mighty. We got to be humble. We got to be examined. The Most High got to put us through things. He got to try to prove us to see if we're going to be worthy or see if we're going to be, we're going to go to the Bible or just live by bread alone. We're going to have to see that. We gotta pray for these things sometimes. We have to go into that. David did it. Our forefather did it, right? These things are to prove us. To prove us. Right? Let's go back to Deuteronomy 8. Deuteronomy chapter 8 and verse 3. It says, and he humbled thee and suffered thee to hunger and fed thee with manna. I want to hit a point on this. Let me go back real quick. Verse 2. And thou shalt remember all the way of the Lord, all the way which the Lord thy God led thee these 40 years in the wilderness, to humble thee and to prove thee, and to know what was in thine heart, whether thou wouldest keep the commandments or no. I want to hit this part where it says to know whether to know what is in thine heart, because as we go through, us being in this truth and this faith, continue to grow in this, some of us ain't real. Some of us are not really about this faith. That's why you got to examine yourself. You got to really see, like, try me. See, Heavenly Father, try me, please, because I want to make sure I'm doing this in sincerity. And maybe in certain things that manifest, you'll see it. But we got some people that's really not living by the Bible. That's really just in the midst. That looks as if they living by it, but they're not. They're not. Watch this. We got some people that's, what do you call it? Fake. That's fake. Watch this. Go to Romans real quick. Let's see. Romans chapter 12. Let me get there. Romans chapter 12 and verse 9. Right? So Romans chapter 12 and verse 9. It says, let love be without dissimulation. Abhor that which is evil. Cleave to that which is good. Now, the cleaving to which is good is what? The laws of God, the Bible. Right? You read about that in Romans 7. That good thing is the laws, right? So it says, cleave unto which is good. But the first part is what I want us to look at. It says, let love be without dissimulation. Dissimulation. Oh, that's not an average word for us Negroes, right? We know that. All right. I wrote some definitions down. I want to read it real quick. So dissimulation. Let's see what it means. It says, concealment of one's thoughts, feeling, or character, right? So someone of one's thoughts, feelings, or character, right? That person is basically deceitful. They're fake. Here goes some synonyms. Deceit, faking, dishonesty, hiding, disguising, guile. Didn't it say Christ had no guile in him? He wasn't cunning. He wasn't a con artist. He wasn't, faking it. He wasn't dishonest. He wasn't disguising. He wasn't hiding nothing. But we supposed to follow the Bible. We're supposed to follow his steps. He didn't have to hide. We got to see that. Listen, if we're going to be tried and he's going to check, make sure our mind is pure and right. Like we read in Deuteronomy, he said, to know what is in thine heart, what's in your mind, meaning we can't be having that fake love. We can't be moving with deceit. Because ultimately, it's not what I see. It's not what your brother or your sister that's next to you see. What the leader of your congregation sees. It's what God sees. And he see it all. He know deep down in your mind what's going on. But you think you can hide it from him. But remember, he said he's proving you. You going through these things and you showing fake love, you fooling yourself. You're not fooling nobody else but yourself at the end of the day. And maybe you'll get over on your brother or your sister, but you're fooling yourself because you think that it's going to happen. You're going to prosper in that, and you're not. So we can't move with the fake love. Whether it's fake love towards your brother or your sisters or fake love towards God. Because at the end of the day, it's going to manifest. Christ said, hey, I'm going to follow the Bible. I'm not going to I'm not doing it for me. I'm doing it because God put me here. God told me to do this. I'm following the Bible. And that's what we have to do. All right. Back to Deuteronomy chapter 8. Deuteronomy chapter 8, and we're going to read verse 3. It says, let me hit another point real quick, because it says I'm going to read verse 3. It says, Deuteronomy 8 and verse 3, and he humbled thee and suffered thee to hunger and fed thee with manna, which thou knowest not, neither did thy fathers know, that he might make thee known that man doeth not live by bread only, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of the Lord doeth man live. So now we see that this is where Christ found it. This is what Christ was quoting right here. Man don't live by bread alone, but by the word of the Lord, the Bible, by this. He knew that, hey, I'm going to live by the Bible. I'm going to live by this word right here, by every word that proceeded out of the mouth of the Lord. That's just how I must live, right? As we go through life, we got to examine this. Watch this. Go to, let's jump over to Deuteronomy 30. We're going to read verse 19. Deuteronomy chapter 30 and verse 19, it says, I call heaven and earth to record this day against you, that I have set before you life and death, and blessings and cursing. Therefore choose life, that both thou and thy seed may live. Right? So he said, he set before us life and death. Choose life. Choose life. Israel. What Christ did when Satan tempted him, he chose life. We're going to prove it though, right? Let's go to Proverbs. Let's go to Proverbs. I can get there. Proverbs chapter 7. And let's read verse 2. The book of Proverbs, chapter 7, verse 2. Keep my commandments and live, and my law as the apple of thine eye. Right? So it says, keep my commandments and live. So the commandments of God makes you live. Meaning when Christ said, hey, I'm going to choose, I can't live by bread alone, but by the word of God, he chose life. He chose life. Israel, we're faced with the same scenario in today's time. Whether we're going to choose life or death, we just going to choose me, bread alone, or we going to choose the way of life, the Bible, living by the Bible. Are we going to choose this, the word? We have to choose that. We have to decide. Because remember, Satan's smooth. He can give you whatever you want. We're going to read about it because Satan was trying to do it. I don't want to jump the gun. Satan was trying to do that thing. But we have to choose life, which is what? Keeping the commandments, right? All praises. So let's go back to Deuteronomy 8 and verse 3. Deuteronomy 8 and verse 3. One more time it says, and he humbled thee and suffered thee to hunger and fed thee with manna, which thou knewest not, neither did thy father know, that he might make thee known that man doeth not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of the Lord doeth man live. So we know that men live by the word of God. Everything that proceeds out of this, man lives, right? So we see that. Watch this. Let's go to Joshua. These are basic scriptures. But a lot of times when we go through trials and temptations, guess what? All of a sudden, these scriptures just go away. They just, boom. They fade off. Like that little thing you pick up in the, I forget what you call those things. And you blow it and they just fly away out of the ground. Y'all know what I'm talking about. That's how it happens. It's like the Bible just disintegrates right in front of us when we're faced with different obstacles. Like we say, forget the Bible. But watch this, Joshua. Let's read Joshua 1. Joshua. And think about this. Joshua came right after what Moses was talking about. Joshua said, hey, he knew this, right? Joshua chapter 1 and verse 8. I want to start at verse 6 first because it's a key point in here. Verse 6, I'm going to read it. Joshua chapter 1 and verse 6. Be strong and of a good courage, for unto this people shalt thou divide for an inheritance the land which I swear unto their fathers to give them. Right? So this is something that we got to recognize. Excuse me. Christ knew this. He said, Christ knew this. Christ read the Bible. Remember, we read that earlier. He read the Bible. And the point is, he said, hey, I got to be strong. I got to be of good courage. I have to be. Because I know applying the laws is the way. Going to the word, getting in the word is the way. And going after me, living by bread alone, it's nothing. It's nothing. Right? Watch this. Verse 7. Only be thou strong and very courageous, that thou mayest observe to do according to all the law. Right? Be very courageous. We have to be very courageous when it comes to this. When it comes through the trials that we're going through. It may be hard. It may seem like we'll never make it. I've been trying so hard. It's been so long. We've been in captivity so long. But you still got to be courageous. You still got to hold on. Continue to move. Continue. You have to, right? Watch this. It says, be very courageous, that thou mayest observe to do according to all the law, which Moses, my servant, commanded thee. All right. Turn not from it to the right hand or to the left, that thou mayest prosper whithersoever thou goest. Don't go to the right or left. Don't stray off from the commandments. You know where else this is saying this at? Hold that. We read about this in Esdras. All right. Let's go. Esdras, 2nd Esdras 7. We're going to read verse. I just want to read this one point. 2nd Esdras 7 and verse 21. For God hath given straight commandment to such as came, that they should do to live, even as they came, and what they should observe to avoid punishment. He gave straight commandment. There's no point for us to go left or right. Just keep it straight. He gave straight commandment of what we must do to live and avoid punishment. To avoid punishment. Right? So we read this through the Bible. Christ said, hey, I opened the Bible. I read this. I knew this. So when I'm tried, guess what? I'm going to go straight to the Bible. I'm going to get my answers right here. I ain't gonna do my own thing. I'm not. This is something we have to do, right? Watch this. Joshua, back at Joshua. Joshua chapter 1 and verse 8. Joshua 1 and 8. It says, this book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night, that thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein. For then, remember, when we observe to do all that's written therein, the laws, the commandments, right? Meditating day and night, just like we read in Deuteronomy 8. It said, hey, these laws can't leave our mouth. That's the same thing as saying you can't live by bread alone, but by the word of God, right? And when we apply this, when it's never departing our mouth, day and night, that thou mayest observe to do to do according to all that is written therein. For then thou shalt make thy way prosperous, and then thou shalt have good success. That's when you're gonna get good success. That's when you continue to believe in the faith, keeping the commandments, implying this, and the faith of Christ. Guess what? Right when you at the edge of that trial, that's for a season. That's sometimes for a season. You right there at the edge. Guess what? You go to the Bible. You go to the men that's going to give you scriptures out of the Bible. If you can't find it, guess what? You're going to be prosperous. That's what, it can't be broken. It's written here. It can't be broken. Remember, we just read, none of these prophecies shall fail. None of them. Meaning what the Bible says, what he said he gonna do, if you keep the commandments, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. And we have to see that. All right, Israel? We gotta stay focused. We gotta stay on this path. This path, we gotta drill it in our minds. We gotta meditate on this. This is something we need, right? Let's go. I want to go back to Luke real quick. Well, now let me get a scripture real quick. Let's go to 1 Samuel. 1 Samuel. This goes back to the point of us applying and being sincere about this, right? We can't be fake, you know. Like I said, we read love without dissimulation. We can't have none of that in our mind. We can't be having guile. We can't be deceitful. What you call it? Dishonest. We can't have these thoughts, right? And guess what else? 1 Samuel chapter 2 and verse 3. 1 Samuel chapter 2. I can get there. 1 Samuel chapter 2 and verse 3. Talk no more exceeding proudly. Let not arrogancy come out of your mouth. For the Lord is a God of knowledge, and by him actions are weighed. Now, when you go through stuff, you can't say that you're going to do something and not do it. Actions are weighed. And what's crazy is when we read Deuteronomy, said we going through this. Guess what? It's to try us. It's to try us, to prove it, to see if we gonna go to him or not. If we're gonna follow what's written in the Bible, we're gonna live by the Bible or not. And some of you online right now, guess what? Some of you only attend the Sabbath online because you want to, not because you have to, not because you ain't got no car, not because you sick and you can't make it, because you just a Facebook Israelite or you just a computer Israelite. But how are you going to be trying? How you going to go through those congregational trials? When those temptations, you just skip that whole thing. So when we get to the wilderness again, guess what? You don't know how to deal with people. It says actions are weighed. He put us through these things to see if we're going to go to the Bible or we're going to live on our own. We're going to do our own thing. Some of you are living by bread alone. Not by every word of the Lord, the word of the Bible. You living by bread alone only. You only satisfied with what you can get now. Me. That's all you thinking. You got to examine that thing. He said actions are weighed. Actions are weighed. We have to see that. We really have to see that thing, all right? Let's go back to Luke. Let's go back to Luke. Examine that thing. We got to go to the Bible. That's the thing we need, right? Let's see. Luke chapter 4. The book of Luke chapter 4 and verse 4. And Jesus answered him, saying, it is written that man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word of God. Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word of God. Word of God. Let's get some of that. That the word, the bread, that really what he's talking about, right? This is what we must live by. Let's go to Sirach. And come back to Luke, y'all. But let's go to Sirach real quick. The book of Sirach, chapter 15 and verse 3. Sirach, chapter 15 and verse 3. With the bread of understanding shall she feed him, and give him the water of wisdom to drink. Right? So that bread that we're fed by is the understanding. It's the word of God. Right? It's the word of God. Hold that. I'm going to prove something here. I think it's Deuteronomy what I want. Let's go back to Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verse, let's start at verse 5. Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verse 5. It says, Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as the Lord my God commanded me, that ye should do in the land whither ye go to possess it. Keep therefore and do them. The commandments he's talking about. For this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of nations, which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. So that wisdom and understanding, that we're going to get, that bread, is the laws of God. Let's go to the laws of God. Christ did that. He said, hey, I can't live by just bread alone. No, it's the word. That's the thing I have to feed off of. That's what I have to get. Let's get more on that. Let's go to Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 16. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 16, and we're going to read verse 26. Wisdom of Solomon 16 and verse 26, right? Watch what it says. It says, Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 16 and verse 26. That thy children, O Lord, whom thou lovest, might know that it is not the growing of fruits that nourish men, right? So it ain't the growing of the fruits that nourish you. It's not the taking in of that fruits, the actual food that's going to nourish you, right? Watch this. But that it is thy word which preserveth them and put their trust in thee. It is the word. It is the word. It's the word that's going to allow us to grow, to know that we need to feed off of. That's the bread of understanding, the word. It's not that food, y'all. It's not bread alone. No, it's the word. We have to seek this. We have to, and Christ knew this. That's why he read the Bible. Think about it. He was doing when he was young. He was reading. He grew up. He said, hey, as he was young, he was reading and asking questions and answering questions. Guess what? We got to read the Bible. We got to ask these questions. We got to get these answers, right? So we know we're following Christ's steps. We read, Christ went through the Bible, said, hey, here's the solution. It's not me. It's not my own will. It's not me living by bread alone, but it's the will of God. It's what he told me to do because I read it. I believe in what's written in this Bible. You going to live by the Bible? You're a follower of Christ? Do what he did when he was tempted through his trials. He went to the Bible. All right, let's go back to Luke. All right. The book of Luke, chapter 4 and verse 5. I'm going to read 4 again, and we're going to keep moving. The book of Luke, chapter 4 and verse 4. And Jesus answered him, saying, It is written that man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word of God. And the devil, taking him up into a high mountain, showed unto him all the kingdoms of the world in a moment of time. And the devil said unto him, all this power will I give thee, and the glory of them, for that is delivered unto me, and to whomsoever I will, I give it. If thou therefore wilt worship me, all shall be thine. So now we see that Satan, the devil, said, hey, Christ, guess what? All right, that didn't work. But look, I can give you all this. You know, you see these cars driving around, these Teslas, I can give you this. I can give you you want power? Oh, I give you power. I know the scriptures tell. I know what the scriptures say about you being on the right hand of God, you his son. I know. But listen, you follow me though, you can get this right now. You ain't got to go through the trials. You did all that fast. You ain't got to go through all that. You did all that fasting, and I can just give it to you right now. You want it now? You done with it? You went and did it. I can give it to you. You ready? This happens to us. We go through these things, and Satan is trying us. Satan has ran through our mind. Satan has ran through us. We got to think. We got to examine that thing. We go through these trials, and Satan, takes us out. He tried to take us out. All right? We see that. Satan was trying to tempt Christ right here. He was trying to give him everything. Right? I think I missed a point. I gotta back step real quick. I want to go back. Because when we read in Deuteronomy chapter 3, right? Deuteronomy 8:3, it tells us about the word of the Lord fed us, right? That's what's going to feed us. To be humble. We're going to be humble. We got to practice humility, right? We got to practice these things. We got to have this applied in us. Christ was humble. He was humble. 40 days of fasting. He was humble. But he still overcame with the word, right? I want to prove a point, though, in this. Because just like Christ was tried, we're going to be tried. Just like we just read here about devil trying to tempt, we're going to be tempted. That's what the scriptures say. Let's go to that. Sirach. And then we're going to come back. The book of Sirach, chapter 2. All right? Y'all stay with me now. We got to live by the Bible. The Bible is the way. It's no reason to run around it. Right? The book of Sirach, chapter 2 and verse 1. My son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation. Set thine heart aright and constantly endure, and make not haste in the time of trouble. Right, so when we come to serve the Lord, guess what? We're going to go through stuff. We have to prepare our minds for temptation. Christ knew he was going to go through something. He knew he was going to be tried. He read this. He read this exact thing we're reading. And guess what? He overcame by going to the word. But the problem is it's in his second part. Is in a time of trouble, we end up making haste. Christ could have just said, hey, man, I'm already done with the fast. You right, Satan. You right. I can just turn that rock into bread. I can eat that. I can just eat right now. I'll be good. He could have made haste in that. He could have did that. The stuff you go through, like I said, you right down the edge to being off of it, but you end up making haste. And we see that. That's why it says, set thy heart aright. You know what that's saying? Discipline your mind to go to not to be going after your own will. Disciplining your mind to say, hey, hold on. I'm not going to do what I want to do to to suffice this moment right here. No. I'm going to set my mind right. I'm going to discipline it from my own will to follow the will of the Most High, the will of God, right? So when you see that, it says constantly, verse 2, it says, set thy heart aright, discipline your mind, and constantly endure. Constantly endure. Because why? Why we got to constantly endure? Because when you come to serve the Lord, you're going to go through temptations. But you have to constantly endure. Constantly endure. We see that. It says, and make not haste in a time of trouble. And I'm going to tell you, people make haste in a time of trouble. Like this. You struggling. You going through your trials. Your trials is finances. You got a light bill, $700. You got a rent that's $700. Instead of you going to the scriptures say you, hey, the money is a defense. You know, you give alms, you do this and that, and guess what? That's what the brethren, that's what the church is for, to help the poor, to help the ones that need. But instead of going to the church, going to the scriptures, going to the system, you go against it. You go and say, hey, well, I'm going to go give me an easy cash loan and I'll be good. Excuse me. I'll get the easy cash loan. I'll be good. I'm going to get $1,000 and I'll pay it back. Oh, I could get 3 months. 3 months, no interest. I can pay it back. Oh, I got that. I can pay it back in 3 months. 90 days. I got that. And guess what happens? I pay $200 every other week. I had it done already. I beat that. And guess what happens? Now you owe $4,000 on a $1,000 loan because you made haste in a time of trouble. That's just on money. You get into, you do all kind of foolishness we do. We make haste. We don't go to the scriptures, right? We don't do this. Watch this. We forget the Bible. We forget. I want to read verse 3 and then I want to pull another precept. Sirach chapter 2 and verse 3. It says, cleave unto him and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at the last end. What happens is we forget to use the Bible. When Christ was dealing with certain things, he was in time of trouble, he meditated. He went to this. He showed you in there. He said, Satan came at me. Guess where I'm going? To the Bible. We don't. We forget it. Watch this. Proverbs. When you're in time of trouble, what you got to do? Go to the Bible. Watch what the Bible says. Proverbs chapter 19. And we're going to read verse... what verse I want? Verse 20. Proverbs chapter 19 and verse 20. Hear counsel and receive instruction, that thou mayest be wise in the latter end. So it says, hear counsel. So when you know you're seeking out of the Bible, guess what? You're going to hear counsel. Meaning what? You're going to go get help from your leaders, from the men that you call your father, your spiritual father, from the elders at your church, the what do you call it? The head officers at your church, the highest ranking officer at your church, whether it's your council of 1,000 or the head of the school. Guess what? You're going to go get counsel. You're going to hear it. You're going to receive that instruction so that you can get wisdom. And guess what? Through that time of trouble, you've gained experience. You made it through because you went and got counsel. You were seeking out of the Bible. The Bible says, hey, the Bible teaches us to get counsel, and it was going to give us instruction. We was going to receive that instruction. But many of us run away, right? Are you living by the Bible? Are you doing what Christ did? He went into the Bible and said, hey, I can't live by it. I can't live like that. Listen, the Bible tell me this. I'm going to do this. Right? Let's go. Let's go to Sirach real quick. Let's go to Sirach chapter 37. Let me get there. Sirach chapter 37 and verse 16. And it says, let reason go before every enterprise, and counsel before every action. And we wonder why we go through stuff. Because in a time of trouble, we don't go get counsel at all. We don't. We don't go to the wise men, the learned men of the Bible to get help, to get the biblical solution to how to overcome the trials that we're going through. Instead, we say, hey, I'm just going to do me. Since I want my solution to happen now, I'm going to just live by bread alone. I'm just going to just figure it out right now. I got this. Listen, in everything, get counsel. Just get help. Yeah, it could be the smallest thing. We're not going to sit here and judge you and sit here and say, oh man, that little simple thing, like, I don't want to hear that crap. No, we're going to say, okay, though it may be a small matter, guess what? It's, oh yeah, this is the easy thing right here. It's my job to do this. If you just get counsel, that's the simplest thing to avoid in a time of trouble, to making dumb decisions, right? Let's go back to Sirach, chapter 2. Sirach chapter 2. All right. And we're going to read verse 3 again. Sirach chapter 2 and verse 3. Cleave unto him and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at the last end. That we may be increased at the last end. Cleave unto him. So we got to cleave unto the Lord. We got to go to the Bible. That you may be increased. Right? Where's Christ? Throughout his trials, what he had to go through, he died for Israel. Guess what? Some of the same stuff we're going to go through. A lot of us going to go through the same stuff Christ went through. But the difference is going to make or break us, whether we're going to choose life or whether we're going to choose death. It's us applying what is written instead of running, because Satan is good. Remember, it said, what did he say with Satan? It said he brought him the mountains. He came and said, he went on the mountains. He said, hey, I can give you all this. What are we going to choose though? We going to follow Christ's steps, or we going to submit to what Satan has put over us? Satan has tempted us with, or we going to give in to that? We got to examine that, right? Verse 4. Whatsoever thou is brought upon thee, take cheerfully, and be patient when thou art and be patient when thou art changed to a low estate. Why did it say that though? Christ said, listen, when we read about Christ was perfect, right? When he went through trials, the way he carried himself, the way he responded, it made sense. It just makes sense. They said, when you be cheerful and be patient when thou art changed to a low estate. All right, watch this. Let's go to Luke. Let's go to Luke real quick. Luke chapter 21. From the words of Christ himself. He's given us ways to overcome. He's given us ways to overcome. All right, Luke chapter 21 and verse 19. It says, in your patience possess ye your souls. It said, in your patience possess ye your souls. So when you become impatient in a time of trouble, when you're dealing with the issues, you're dealing with whether it's financial, whether it's congregational trials, whether it's marital trials you're dealing with, just individual trials. Guess what? If you're patient, it possesses your soul. It's something you'll be able to overcome that thing. You'll be able to be changed when you're at a lower state. You'll overcome, just like Christ did. Remember, he died for us. He died for us. And guess where he's at now? He's sitting on the right hand of God. We got to see that thing. We trying to make it to heaven. You trying to make it? Are you living by the Bible? Are you following the footsteps of Christ? When he was tried, how he overcame? Just read about it. Read about him. Read about the apostles that followed after him. Read about it. We got to see that. All right. Sirach 2 and verse 5. Sirach 2 and verse 5. Because remember, I said Christ died for us, right? Some of us gonna die. Some of us gonna die. We go through trials, we go through tribulation. But listen, that fiery trial, when it's at that time, when it's that time, are you gonna cave in? Watch this. Sirach chapter 2 and verse 5. For gold is tried in the fire, and the acceptable men in the furnace of adversity. Just like we read in Deuteronomy 8, he said, I want to prove thee. Right? You're going to go through stuff. Guess what? You read it throughout the Bible. These trials, us being gold tried in that fiery, tried in that fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity, meaning some of us going to be tried to death. Oh. Yes, some of us going to be tried to death. What are you going to do, though? Are you going to be like, well, Satan, yeah, I won't. Listen, watch this. Go. I want to show you something. Now, I don't want to jump the gun. Watch this. It says, making sure I ain't jumping. It says, I'm going to read that again. Verse 5. It says, for gold is tried in the fire and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity. Remember, some of us are going to die in this walk. We're going to go through trials. Some of us, some of this crazy germ that has plagued the earth was going to destroy some of us. Some of us have lost our lives already from this thing, and it's going to kill many more. Some of us going to get shot down by our own people. Yes, by the other nations. Some of us going to be really tried through the fire. But are you going to cave in? Are you going to give in? Or are you going to be like, the Bible said it. All I got to do is just continue to follow this. And when we gonna be changed, guess what? We're gonna be made pure. You're gonna rise first in Christ. We all want that, so we have to follow what's written in the Bible. We gotta live by the Bible. We gotta live by this thing. All right, Israel? Let's go back real quick. Let's go back. Luke. Let's go back to Luke chapter 4. All right. Luke chapter 4 and verse 4. It says, and Jesus answered him, saying, it is written that man should not live by bread alone, but by every word of God. Man should not live by bread alone, but by every word of God, right? And the devil, taking him up into a high mountain, showed unto him all the kingdoms of the world in a moment of time. So the devil showed him all the kingdoms of the world in a moment of time. Watch this. Verse 6, it says, and the devil said unto him, all this power will I give thee, and the glory of them, for that is delivered unto me, and to whomsoever I will, I give it. If thou therefore wilt worship me, all shall be thine. Watch what Jesus says. And Jesus answered and said unto him, get thee behind me, Satan, for it is written. Oh, he said it. He's going into the Bible. He said, for it is written, thou shalt worship the Lord thy God, and him only shalt thou serve. So the Bible teaches us what? The Testament. Look, we can't have no other God above God, the highest. We can't serve these other things. We can't. Watch this. Let's go to Exodus. Just read the law real quick. And this is how you know. This is how you know Christians in the world. They fake, man. They don't believe the Bible because Christ quoting laws. He quoting the Old Testament. And we see this. And look, we got to make sure we following this. This is the way to live. Your pastor, these pastors in this church today, they ain't living by the Bible. Watch this. Exodus chapter 20 and verse 2. Verse 3. It says, thou shalt have no other God before me. What is he saying? You should have no other God before me. So Satan's, that's what Christ was saying. I ain't supposed to have no other God before the God of the Bible, the God of the world, the true and only, the Most High God. No. I'm not about to go and bow down to you and worship you. You crazy? Think about this. Why you think Satan did that? Because he was at his lowest. Christ was at his lowest. He was fasting. He was afflicted, his soul. So he was subject to just give in to things, right? You would think. But no. Christ said, no, I'm following this, the Bible. I'm going to read I'm going to quote, I'm going to go into the scriptures. I'm going to find solutions to help benefit me so I can succeed. Satan came at him. Satan was like, hey, yeah, he weak now. I can go get him. I'm going to try him with this food. This ain't going to work. I'm going to give him the world. Guess what? Satan do the same thing to you today. Watch this. Job real quick. We read this. I'm telling y'all, these are basic scriptures. But for some reason, when we're afflicted, when we're at our lowest state, when we've been tried, we do not run to the Bible. We run to everything else. We run to everything else. You have to live by the Bible, right? Watch this. Job, if I can get it. Job chapter 9 and verse 24. Basic. Job chapter 9 and verse 24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? So the earth is given into the hand of the wicked, meaning who? The white man. Yes, Esau. Yes, Billy Bob, your boss. Susan, Karen, your co-worker. That's the wicked. The earth is giving it to them. So just like Satan was tempting Christ, saying, "Hey, he can give you this," Satan coming to you. Esau coming to you. The literal Esau, the real devil, the Satan, is coming to you saying, "Hey, I'll give you a raise. All you got to do is just work the Sabbath. All you got to do is work the Sabbath." Matter of fact, I'm going to give you a whole $10,000 extra a year to work the Sabbath. Some of you going to be like, yeah, shoot, that's the blessing. You going to think that's the blessing God gave you? Hell no, that ain't the blessing. No. That's not he's not giving you that. Look. Let me see. Man, all I got to do is, listen, if you just come celebrate this a little bit. If you listen, you ain't I know you don't celebrate Christmas, but just come to our party. Just come to the holiday party. It's a holiday party. Just come and you'll be, listen, Satan is crafty. He gonna come to you at the lowest estate. He gonna come. He gonna try to give you things to feed you. He gonna try to feed you. He gonna be like, hey, here you go. Are you gonna take it, or are you gonna live by the Bible? Are you gonna say, get thee behind me, Satan? Are you gonna do what Christ said? Listen, now I only worship God. His high holy days is the Feast of Dedication, is the Feast of Purim, it's the Feast of Passover, it's the New Moon Feast, it's Tabernacles, it's the Feast of First Fruit. It's all of these high holy days in the Bible that Christ kept. That's all I'm going to follow. But some of us give in. Some of us give in, and guess what? You know what that's called? That's called trimming your ways. Satan gonna get you. He gonna play you, and you gonna trim your ways. Watch this. Because it said verse 8, when you read Luke verse 8, it says, and Jesus answered, say, get behind me, Satan, for it is written that thou shalt worship the Lord thy God, and him only shalt thou serve. Some of us trim our ways. Remember, don't be that person that talk proud and you sitting here visiting the day after Christmas, You go to your family house talking about, because your grandma said, I know you don't celebrate, son. Or your mama say this, and you go the day afterwards because it's not Christmas, and they give you a gift. Or they say, come on over, son. I ain't got nothing for you. You know they lying. They got something for you. They gonna say they ain't got nothing, but they got something. I know you don't celebrate, son. Listen, don't be deceived. Don't. Watch this, Jeremiah chapter 2. We got to live by the Bible. You think Christ was going to trim his ways for Satan? He was going to be like, well, maybe I can just bow a little bit. I mean, I do like what you showed me. I see the Teslas. Oh yeah, you talking about I can help? You saying I can own Amazon and this top? Wait, Satan is doing that. Christ didn't say nah. Let me trim my way. Christ said nah. He said hell nah. Listen, I'm doing what the Bible says. I only supposed to serve the one and true God. Right? Watch this. Jeremiah chapter 2, verse 33. Jeremiah chapter 2 and verse 33. Why trimmest thou thy way to seek love? Therefore, hast thou also taught the wicked ones thy ways? Now that person that you've been trying so hard to get your brother, your mama, your sister, your grandma in this truth, and you to trim your ways on these wicked days for them, they ain't never coming. If you gonna do it like that, you teaching them the wicked ways. You can't allow the Most High to work through you to them because you trimming your ways. It's going to be very hard for them to come. But you say you love them. You love God. You love your people. Listen, if you love God, if you love your people, you're going to do what's written in the Bible. You're going to live by this. A lot of us trim our ways to seek love. We say, yeah, you're right. And it be at work. It be at work. It be with your family and it be at work. You got to examine that thing. You got to stand firm. Remember, be strong and courageous. Be very courageous about this. Just like our forefathers, the Maccabees, they weren't giving in to that. The mother and her 7 children, they weren't giving in to that. They said, nah, man, we're going to follow God. When you read the history of Suzanne, guess what? Them men came up and was trying to play her. Trying to say she did what, tried to come at them. She wasn't look, she said, whatever it be, let it be. God, look, you know. She wasn't going in and saying, you right. No, she was following the Lord. She was following the Bible. And we have to see that. Some of you going through stuff right now that may be similar to what we're talking about here, what we're reading about. Guess what? Follow the Bible. Get counsel. Don't lean on your own thoughts. Yes, that job pays a lot of money. Yes, you can be the boss now. Yes, you might get this raise. But listen, watch this. 1 Corinthians chapter 10. And verse 13. 1 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 13. There have no temptation taken you, but such as is common to man. But God is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able, but will with the temptation also make a way to escape, that ye may be able to bear it. Listen, God is going to allow you to escape this. He's going to make a way for you to escape. So you going through these trials, believe it or not, just like like Bishop Kanai, he mentioned, and I forget what the name of the class. I think it was going over like dealing with funds and basically trimming your ways, right? So he said he had a job, right? A job offer. They offered him this amount of money. He failed before. He said, hey, nah, I ain't doing it this time. Yeah, they tried to give me a raise to work on the Saturday, thousands of dollars, whatever the case may be. And guess what? He said, nope. And then guess what? He was offered the job anyway for another day for more than that. So guess what? You got to understand that there's going to be trials and temptations that some of us going to go through the same stuff, right? But guess what? God is doing this because he know you can handle that, what you're going through, and that he's already got the way out for you. You just got to believe and trust in him. You just got to live by the Bible. You just got to go in the Bible, find a solution. You got to see that, Israel. We have to see these things. We got to live by this because he's going to make a way. You remember that? What the Christians say? The Christians in the church, they say, he make a way out of no way. Yes, he's going to make a, he going to be able to make a way to escape that ye may be able to bear it. Yes, in this captivity, in this wicked world that Esau rules, you're going to make a way. We just got to follow the Bible, the guideline, the guidance is right here. Just like Christ did, right here. Right here. We got to follow this, Israel. All right. Let's go. Let's go to Romans real quick. Some of us trim our ways. You gotta get that in your mind. You gotta get it out your mind. Watch this. Let's read Romans 12. Let's start at verse 1. Give me a second, Israel. Romans chapter 12 and verse 1. I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that ye present your bodies a living sacrifice, wholly acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. Listen, some of us take that living sacrifice as just something as for granted. Some of us are really going to be tried, and we're going to go through things like we read in Sirach, to death. We're going to be a living sacrifice. But the things that we go through that may harm us, our bodies today, whether we get super sick and overcome through this pandemic or whatever the case may be, is to make us acceptable unto God. It's to make us acceptable unto God. To make us better. It's to build us. We got to see that thing. It's going to make us strong, which is our reasonable service, right? That's the least we can do, right? Watch this. Verse 2. And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is good. What is that good and acceptable, perfect will of God, right? We can't be conformed to this world. So don't give in. Don't trim your ways for this world, right? Because this world is going to pass. This world is going to leave. This is the end of Esau world and the beginning of Jacob's, right? We're right at the end. We're on the verge of starting our kingdom. Remember, think about this. Like we read in Don't Make Haste in the Time of Trouble. We right there at the end. Listen, we always at the end, right at the end before we able to overcome and we give up. Think about it now. We in the last hour. We in the last hour. We right there, right at the end. And you ready? You gonna give up? You gonna go into the world? I can't listen. You done went through all this slavery, all these captivities, and you gonna give up now? Christ has suffered and did all of that, and for him to just give up, or to just say, "Hey, you right. I know what I really have to do, but it's just too hard." And to give up? Come on, man. You know what he knew what he was gonna be missing out on. Because he read about it. Of course, it's deeper than that, but he read it, said, "Hey, I know who I am. And look, this is what the Bible says. I'm gonna inherit the kingdom is gonna look like this. I done seen it, I done built it, I done did all of those things. Guess what? We read the same thing. We know that the kingdom is gonna be something we can't fathom. But we want to live for now of this world. It said, be not conformed to this world. We can't, Israel. We got to see that in our mind, right? We got to see that. I got a few more scriptures. I want us to manifest these things. Digest these things in our mind. Really meditate on these things, all right? The book of Romans. We're going to jump over to chapter 13 and we're going to read verse 13. Romans chapter 13 and verse 13. It says, let us walk honestly as in the day, not in rioting and drunkenness. Some of us walk around with that. It said, let us walk honestly, right? Like we read in Romans earlier, verse 12 and verse 9, without dissimulation. Some of us walk around dishonest. But the Bible says, let us walk honestly in this day. Let us walk in this day honestly. Let us really walk about this truth. Let us be about this Bible, right? Watch this. Not in rioting, not in drunkenness. Some of us still getting drunk, knowing the law tells us not to do that. To be sober-minded. To don't be drunkard. The Bible teaches us not to do that, and some of us walk around and do it. Not in chambering and some of us in wantonness, not in strife and envy. Some of us walk around committing foolish fornications. Some walking around with super lustful thoughts, watching porn, all of these things. We're not living by the Bible. You're not living by this. It says, let us walk honestly, right? Not in strife and envy. Some of us are in this faith and we walking with strife and envy. Right now. We got to see that. We can't move like that. All right, watch what the next verse says. But put ye on the Lord Jesus Christ. You're going to follow after Christ, right? The word, put that on you, right? And make not provisions of the flesh to fulfill the lust thereof. And don't make provisions of the flesh. Don't make provisions of your flesh. Don't give in to it. Don't let it overcome you. You can't do that. We have to conquer these things by what? Putting on Christ, putting on the word. He is the way, the truth, the life. He's the laws. We have to put them on. That's that shield. That's that armor we read about in Ephesians. We have to see that thing, right? Let's continue. A couple more scriptures, Israel. Let's go to Galatians real quick. Galatians 5. It says not, because when you read Romans, it said, let me make sure I mess up. It said the provisions of the flesh. Don't put on the provisions of the flesh. Let's see what that's talking about. Galatians 5 and verse 16. It says, this I say then, walk in the spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. Walk in the spirit, and you will not fulfill the lust of the flesh. For the flesh lusteth against the spirit, and the spirit against the flesh. And these are contrary the one to the other, so that ye cannot do the things that ye would. Right? That spirit is what? The laws of God, the good things, the good deeds. Walking in the spirit, right? And not after the flesh. Watch this. Why are you saying is that? Why are they saying walk in the spirit? And I want to make sure I ain't missed the point in here. That ye must walk in the spirit, right? Why did it say walk in the spirit? Because we have to. We have to live by this just like Christ did. If Christ would have walked in the flesh, he would have made that stone turn into bread. He would have said yes to Satan, and he trying to rule over this world. We wouldn't be here right now. This wouldn't be right here. This wouldn't be happening. But no, he said, I'm going to walk after the Spirit. Spirit teaches me to do this. Watch this. This is things that we have to see, Israel. Let's go to Matthew real quick. Matthew, chapter 26, and let's read verse 41. Matthew chapter 26 and verse 41, right? It says, watch and pray that ye enter not into temptation, meaning the trial, the temptation we going through, that we become subject to it, meaning we take it in rather than fighting it, right? And it says, watch and pray Watch and pray. That's something that's a key. We have to watch and pray that ye enter not into temptation. The spirit is indeed willing, but the flesh is weak. The Bible says the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. Meaning what? You can overcome it. Because the spirit is willing. The spirit is better than the flesh. You working with a whole different type of power when you're dealing with the spirit, rather than just a carnal flesh that can be cut, harmed, bruised, destroyed, turned into ashes, worms running through your body, all of the above you can think of what can happen to the flesh. You want to go with that? You really want to go with that? Or you want to go with the spirit that has ultimate power, that you can raise up the dead. You can all of the above. You know what the power of the spirit has? We got to examine that thing, right? Let's go back to Galatians real quick. We're going to finish this out, Israel. Galatians 5. So we know we got to watch and pray that we enter not into temptations, because the spirit is willing and the flesh is weak. The spirit is willing and the flesh is weak. All right. Galatians chapter 5 and verse 18. But if ye be led, verse 19. Now the works of the flesh are manifest, which are these: adultery, fornications, uncleanness, lasciviousness, idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, variance, emulations, wrath, strife, seditions, heresies, envies, murders, drunkenness, revelings, and such like, of the which I tell you before, as I have also told you in time past, that they which do such things shall not inherit the kingdom of God. You following the flesh, you will not inherit the kingdom of God. There was a lot of stuff in there. That's something that we have to examine. We got to live by the Bible. If Christ went into one of these, we would not make it. That's a lot of stuff. If Christ fell into one, it would be like, it wouldn't even be, it would be a whole different story. I don't even know if he fell into one, but he did no sin. If we're going to live by the Bible, we're going to follow his steps, we got to follow it in the spirit. All right, watch this. Last couple verses. Verse 22. But the fruit of the spirit is love. The fruit of the spirit is love, right? Joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, that humble spirit, temperance, right? Against such there is no law. There's nothing wrong with these things, applying this, right? Watch this. Verse 24. And they that are Christ have crucified the flesh with the afflictions and lusts. Those that are Christ have cast away off those things we just read, 19 through 21. Those fleshly things, you cast them off. You were over to conquer those things, right? Watch this. Verse 25. If we live in the spirit, let us also walk in the spirit. So you say you about this faith, about this walk in the spirit. Follow what's written in the Bible. Christ, who did no sin, we must follow these steps, Israel. Hey, so that's what I got for you this morning. All praise to the Most High. Lord's will, this was edifying. Just make sure we stay strong in this. We got to make sure we walking in the spirit and not after the flesh, Israel. All praises. I want to say y'all send prayers up for your leadership, for all the congregation that's going through something with this pandemic. Let's overcome this by sending up prayers. Some of us have to fast. Let's do it as one mind, all right? One body. All praise to the Most High. Officer Baruch, IUIC, Arkansas, once again with you. Appreciate y'all having me on. Shalom, Most High in Christ bless.